and welcome to Stitches and Starlight. My name is Tashiana, but you can call me Tashi because that's what all my friends do, and we're friends now. I'm coming to you from my home in Brooklyn that I share with my husband Joshua. That was extra, we're leaving it in. That I share with my husband Joshua and the two held kittens, actual cats, not humans, Minerva and Astoria. And this is my corner of the internet where you talk about all the things that I'm knitting and spinning and potentially sewing and potentially weaving. It's all fiber joy and wool chaos all the time. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on the thumbnail. There are a million voices on the internet clamoring for your attention, and you saw whatever this is and decided to give it a go, and that makes you a rad human. If you're a returning viewer, you already know what time it is. Thank you for coming back to the channel. Thank you for coming back and showing up for your girl. I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy to be here. This is not going to be a normal podcast. We are talking about all things the Rhinebeck experience. This is my third time going to the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. This is my first time doing one of the satellite events. Y'all, when I tell you the weekend was a treat, T-R-E-A-T, all caps, treat, it was a delight. Yes, there were things that happened. Yes, we will talk about the things. But overall, I had a magical time, and I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to have all the stuff, and we're gonna talk about it. I figure the way we're gonna do this, they're gonna be timestamps. So you can choose your own adventure, and you can choose to watch whatever you want to watch. Otherwise, you can hang out for the whole thing. First off, grab a beverage, grab a glass of wine, grab some coffee, grab some tea. We're going to be here a while. I got lots to say. I got lots to show you. It's going to be here. Or you could, skip around, do whatever feels good, watch half one day, watch half the other time. Your girl's going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here. So choose your own adventure. I figure what we're going to do is we're going to do a recap. The executive producer, I'm sorry if you hear the sirens, the executive producer did go with me to Rhinebeck and worked very hard to get lots of footage. So there is a montage, and I've already edited the montage. Y'all, when I tell you the montage is long, I left it all in. I did put a poll on Instagram, and I asked the people what they wanted. I said, do you guys want like a half-hour recap? Do you want a 45-minute recap? Do you want all of it? And you know what the people said? The people said, give it to me. So I gave it to you. So the montage is pretty long. Again, there's going to be timestamps, so you can skip around. We're going to do the montage. We're going to do some reflections. I'm going to show you some pictures. We're going to talk about my experience, what I did, who I saw, what I didn't do. And then I'm going to show you what I got, and we're going to do acquisitions. And I know acquisitions are not for everyone. Listen, I know that. I know sometimes the FOMO is like yoinks you around the throat. And I know some people are like, trying to keep their spending to a minimum. And let me just tell you, the things that I bought are not me encouraging you to buy stuff. You'll know when I'm encouraging you to buy stuff. You'll know. I'm not subtle about it. But the things I bought are not me encouraging you to buy stuff. It's just the things that, sparked joy and filled me right up. So we're going to do that. So without further ado, buckle up, Buttercup. Cue the montage.
Thank you. Way to crack it open.
Cracked it.
Cracked it. All right, I'll get us some glasses. Unoaked Chardonnay.
Okay, friends, it is 7:15 on Friday of Rhinebeck weekend, and everyone is still asleep, but I thought I would give you a tour of my Airbnb because it's the cutest situation. My friend Katie found us a place to stay. We are staying in Rosendale, but I'm just gonna walk around and show you what it looks like outside because it's delightful. I am going to spend so much morning knitting time out here. There's a full-on tiki bar if we decided we wanted to have cocktails, with like a TV up here if we decided we wanted to have cocktails one night while we're here, because we're here for a few days. Here is a fun little place to sit. There's a little wood stove if we wanted to start a fire. The homeowners did leave us instructions for how to start a fire. This is my favorite thing. Oh gosh, I'm gonna try not to fall down the steps. This is my favorite thing out here though. There's a full-on day bed. Here we go, I will show you. There's a full-on day bed with cushions. And I'm just gonna sit out here and knit one morning because I wake up freakishly early. And then you have this delightful view of a little estuary. It's a Hudson River estuary that is literally right outside the house we're staying in. And this is the view from the daybed. So if I sat on this daybed and just started working on a few stitches, I did bring multiple projects, or if I decided to spin, because I brought so many projects. I brought 2 knitting projects. Well, I brought a sock, so that doesn't count. So I brought a sock and 2 knitting projects, and I brought 2 spinning projects. I brought 3 spinning projects, so I have a lot to keep myself occupied. So I might just come and sit out here in the mornings before everyone's ready to go. We are here till Sunday, and today's only Friday. So before everybody's ready to go, I might sit out here and just take in the views. There's perfect daylight this early in the morning. There is also a hot tub at our Airbnb, which I will probably not be taking advantage of, but my friends Megan and Katie are very excited about. But here is, I hope there's no shaky cam. Here's the hot tub. So it's a beautiful property. It's a beautiful property. We came up in the dark Thursday night and it was very hard to find. But otherwise, it's a beautiful property. When everyone else wakes up and I can turn on the lights, I'll show you the inside of the house. But for now, here's your view of Rhine Island, which is where we're staying for the weekend. So I thought I would take you on a quick little tour of my Airbnb. All right. So here is where we're staying for Rhinebeck weekend. It is a delightful home in Rosendale, New York. And I don't know how to do this home tour thing, so we're just gonna do this quick and dirty. There's so many little places to kind of sit and lounge. There's this kind of chaise here. There's this big sitting area. There is a big TV. I'm seriously trying to convince my friends to come over for a knit night before we go back. There's this kind of a hello from me in my woolen folk clothes. Oh my Lord, that camera's really crooked. Here's a little fun place to kind of stash things. Joshua has already made himself at home. This is Officer Bob, which is their fun clay statue. We've already walked past him and thought he was a person multiple times, so that's fun. And then here is a fun little floral arrangement that's hanging out behind the couch. And then here is the kitchen. Can you tell we've moved in? There's like a Starbucks cup and all of our snacks. Very important, Tate Butter Crunch cookies, the real MVP of all snacks. We don't plan on doing any cooking, but if we wanted to, there's a full stove. Here's the view outside the kitchen window. The views are just delightful. I hope there's not too much shaky cam. There is the executive producer. Say hello, executive producer.
Hi, executive producer.
Thanks, Joshua. And then here's what the rest, sorry, I'm just gonna giggle now. That is a Dimension 20 reference. If you watch Dimension 20, you would get that reference. Here is the table that we had breakfast on. Oh, Megan and Katie went apple picking and brought back a pumpkin. That's delightful. So this is pretty much it. I would show you the bedrooms, but they have been completely moved into and you don't want to see those. But here's where we're staying. And I will include some footage of me wandering around outside. But yeah, thanks for coming along this weekend with me. Good morning, friends. I'm going to try to be pretty quiet about this and then raise the volume in post-production because everyone in my house is still asleep. It is 5:44 a.m. on Saturday before all the Rhinebeck tomfoolery and shenanigans start. And I'm just up trying to center a bit before we do it all over again. Yesterday was a lot. There was the rain and there was the crowds, and it was an intense day. I overall ended up having a really good day, but at the beginning I was a little bit concerned about how my emotional state was gonna keep up and catch up to everything that was happening. But it overall ended up being a great day, and I got to see a ton of my friends. I got to meet a bunch of you, which was delightful. Oh my god, I met so much of you. I gave so many hugs, and it was so nice to squish all of you. Like, I literally was squishing faces. It was so nice to squish all of your faces and see all of you in person, which was great. I am really looking forward to Rhinebeck proper. We are going to the Fleece Barn, which surprises no one. We're going to the Fleece Barn. And I'm really looking forward to Rhinebeck proper, to getting like all dressed up. I'm literally in my night clothes, to getting all dressed up and to see more people on the hill and more people on the fairgrounds. And hopefully the rain is not so disrespectful today, because it ruined my hat and I'm very upset about that. Hopefully the rain's not more disrespectful today and we'll do it all over again. Yeah, my heart is so full. I'm full of joy. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but like the best possible sort of overwhelm. It was a day, and it was a really, really good day. And if you ever get a chance to experience a wool festival in your area, I highly recommend you do it. The community is great. The solidarity is great. I did next to no shopping yesterday. I bought 3 things. I'm very proud of myself. But the community is great. The solidarity is great. The people watching and the sweater watching is great. And it's a really interesting and novel experience to be able to be in physical community with the people that we only get to be in virtual community with most of the time. So I have big plans for today. We're getting in as soon as the festival opens, and we are racing to Daedalus. Big plans for the day. And then after that, que sera, sera. And then big plans for this evening. So I will see you on the other side, and hopefully the executive producer gets a bit of footage for us so you get to see how the day goes. Otherwise, we will vlog again, I think, and do it all over again tomorrow. See you in a little bit.
I'm Meredith, and I'm wearing the Cordy sweater from, what's the book? Moon and Turtle? Yes, Moon and Turtle. By Kiyomi and Sachiko Bergen, and mine is knit in Little Fox Fennec. I'm Lydia. I'm also wearing the exact same sweater by the same designer, and mine is in Blue Sky Woolstock.
And these are my very cool friends, and I'm very lucky and very cool because I get to be friends with the very cool people.
That's how we feel about knowing Tazhi. We're nerds, and Tazhi's very cool. Yeah.
Cjannels. I'm so excited for this book. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
So are we. I'm a bit kind of like, on a high today as
Sure.
well, obviously.
Your eyes are
It's so busy.
Yeah, it got really busy all of a sudden.
Wow. I mean, look at her color work designs. Look at the design on this. Look at this hat.
Oh, awesome.
It's so beautiful. I mean, I'm not a sock knitter, but I would pretend to be a sock knitter.
Those are, I'm not really a sock knitter either. Like, those are the first socks that I've ever written a pattern for.
Wow.
I mean, I've knit a few socks.
Right.
But that colorwork pattern is so easy, so it's a good...
Is it an afterthought heel?
It is. That's what I call them. I guess there's different names for the afterthought, but yeah, you just do it afterwards.
Right. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm going to pass that over there so Mary Jane signs it too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it was so nice to meet you and to just have like a few minutes to chat with you.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great week. a gray Shetland, white Shetland. Oh, they're both so small. Like, they're both so small. I could wash these up in a day. These are both so small.
Yeah, they're the same price as these get 5 cups.
Yeah.
Pop the box open and it opens up those tips and those butts and it removes all the shortcuts for you so that when you put it through your carder, all the jumps stick in there.
So when do you do it?
After your fix is clean.
Could you clamp just a fine card or like one paddle of fine card on your
You can, which is what I used to do, but the lock pop, the carding lock on the lock pop is longer and it's curved a different way than the typical card.
Oh, to kind of grab it and
So
open it.
yeah, so they're here. I saw them and I said hi to Roy. At some point, like you don't have to buy one, but at some point I would pass by. So I'm here with like literally one of my favorite people in the world. This is Casey, and Casey's wearing this delightful shawl. Do you want to tell me about your shawl?
I am wearing the Moon Sister shawl by Caitlin Hunter, and I am using Farmer's Daughter Fibers, their Moon Sisters base, which they sadly no longer carry.
No!
But you hold it double, and it's really fun.
It's beautiful.
I like it. It's fringe, gotta have fringe, and I got my cowboy boots on.
Yes! Casey goes nowhere without the cowboy.
Had to bring Arkansas.
Hey friends, it is Sunday, about 6:14 a.m., which is again too early for me to be awake, but like my New York life does not abandon me the second I go on vacation for a few days. We are going back to Rhinebeck proper today, and then we're heading straight home from the fair, and I'm hoping for like a more zen day. I didn't get to see any sheep yesterday in the crush. I didn't get to talk to any shoppers, which is like one of my favorite things to do. We didn't see any like sheep shows or like sheep judging or sheepdog things, anything sheep related. So today we're seeing all the sheep things. Might do a little bit of shopping, just a little bit. I've been very good about my shopping this weekend. We're gonna do a little bit of shopping. There's a few things that I wanted that I didn't get to snag yesterday, so hopefully they're still available so I can snag them today. And then we're gonna hang out with my friends. It's gonna be really lovely, really low key, really like soft and cozy, and I'm really looking forward to it. I am having the best time. If I look exhausted, it's because I am. We've been up early and out late every day, but I'm having the best time. Yesterday I got to go to 2 knit nights with like my friends. I am so lucky and so blessed and just so overjoyed that this is my life and that I get to do this once a year and I get to hang out with all these rad humans who love the same things I do, and somehow the universe saw fit to throw us all together. But it's been a really magical weekend, and I can't say I have no complaints because that's a lie, but overall, yeah, things have just been great. So I thought I would check in with you guys quickly. I'm gonna go watch a YouTube video and work on my hat a little bit while I wait for the rest of the house to wake up, and then we're gonna start making some moves. I'll see you at the fair. I was getting up to start packing so we could go home, and I was sitting in the living room of our Airbnb, and the sunlight was filtering through the windows, and it's such a beautiful morning and such a charming view. And after all of the tomfoolery and chaos, and I'm saying this in the best possible way, you guys, I came here for this. Yes, there is the drama. Yes, there is the nonsense. Yes, there's all of that. But I came for the wool chaos and the fiber joy. But after all of that, just coming outside and taking in a little bit of nature. We're right on the Hudson, so there's birds, there's like all the little insects, there's birdsong. I almost never get birdsong in New York City, except pigeons, which I don't know if they count. But just coming out and getting a little bit of that morning energy and the foliage and the sunlight flickering through the trees. Like, I had to come outside and just pull out my camera and record a little bit of it before we pack up to head out, because this was just a little pocket of paradise. And I'm so pleased. Also, can you tell how much more energy I have than I had like an hour and a half ago? I've been knitting and watching podcasts and just kind of hanging out and vibing. And I'm going to go wake up Mr. Starlight and we're going to get going. But happy Sunday, folks. Happy Sunday. There you go, that's how you do it.
That's how I do it.
Now we're going to building C, right?
Building C, yeah.
Are you still recording? Turn that off. what you got, Sydney. Excellent. And how?
How?
How? And where's the Caspian? And then we've got Dana. We got this here. Come on, Emma. Let's go. Get a little more pep in your step. Come on, Emma. So slow. So slow. All right. Good job, Emma. All right, here we go. Here we go. Ella with Onyx. Oh, what was that, Ella? Okay. I have a feeling where Tiny Goat's gonna go. And we're fine with that. Tiny Goat. Tiny Goat. Tiny Goat. Tiny Goat's very smart. Now, he's a tall mama. He could for sure do this if he wanted to. So it's a matter of, right now it's a battle of the wills. You're gonna jump, I'm not gonna jump. He's a very sweet mama, but sometimes they can all be a little stubborn. Oh, he's like, why do we do this? Why do we do this? Bending that pole a little. Silly human games here. All right, one more shot, Herd. Let's see if you can pull him over. Maybe some clicking, maybe some encouraging. Come on. So I would do one circle, come back around. Come out here, circle. Go. And then keep the lead long and see if you can get him to walk in the middle and you scoot around the side. Yeah, get it. Long lead, long lead, long lead, long lead. Let's go, let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Now it's like all earth tones.
But now I feel like I should trade this out.
Now it's too loud again. No, what about this one?
Yeah, you know, maybe.
That looks really good.
I think that's it.
Now you're gonna trade your yellow brain mustard again.
That's what I
know
I
that
was
you're going
literally just about
I know.
I was just about to do that. I was like, that is it.
Now you got everybody's in the same like
yeah.
vibe.
So these will be my
Now it's getting really close to what you're wearing. So I feel like this is your thing.
I'm a creature of habit.
Because you've got the blue stripe up here.
Yeah.
And then you got the
So
green.
do you like this
I do.
one? Or do you like this warmer one?
No, I like this one. I like that one.
Thank you so much for your
You're
help.
welcome. Good luck.
Thank you so much for your help.
100.
Oh, it's
so
okay.
it's Kate 100. It's her swan show. Needle show. It's her swan show.
Tell me about your handspun.
Oh, okay. So the main color, the cream, is a 100% rainbow A, and then the contrast color is mystery. It's from a patchwork kit from Hello Yarn.
Nice.
Yes.
And Maya, tell me about yours.
Okay, my contrast color is also from Patchwork Kit. So Emily and I got two together and we like sorted out all the ones that we liked and then we spun them up. And then my main color is BFL. It's a cream and a beigey.
Oh, I remember.
And it's so squishy. Yes, yes. It was my first pound. It's so squishy. It's so good. So good.
Okay, and now smile. Smile.
Okay.
Yay.
Should we be together?
Yay! In your matching sweater.
Oh,
Tell us about your sweater. Tell us about your sweater.
Okay, these this actually are kind of our first foray into crocheting. So this is actually crocheted.
It's not knit.
We did,
But it looks like brioche, right?
yeah, we did the knit edgings, but everything else is crochet. Our friend from One Mercery crocheted this vest and then taught us how to do it. Crochet little vest. Oh, well, that's predictable.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I had ends hanging out all day. Okay, and we will get pattern information and we'll include it in the description box.
Perfect. Sure.
I hope you enjoyed the montage. I had a great time reliving it while I was editing it. The Leaping Llama competition was a high point of the weekend. High point of the weekend. It's our Super Bowl, our football. I don't know. The amount of cheering people were doing when the llamas were cooperating and the alpacas and there's a little goat. I mean, Tiny Goat has my whole heart, y'all. Tiny Goat forever. The goat. But let's talk about the weekend. So Joshua and I went up Thursday night and we stayed with my friends Megan and Katie. So Megan and I play D&D together and Megan's girlfriend Katie crochets. And a few months ago I had asked Katie if she was interested in going to Rhinebeck because I knew I was going and I was like, hey, do you want to like go with us? Do you want to share an Airbnb with us? Our Airbnb was delightful. You will have seen the montage. Our Airbnb was delightful and Megan and Katie did a bunch of like upstate fall things. And so they did one day at Rhinebeck, but they did not do all the wool, stuff. That's my jam, not theirs, and that's okay. So that's who I stayed with. That's what we did. So we got there Thursday night. It was super dark. I was just like, woof, I'm from the land of like streetlights everywhere. So we missed the turn into our Airbnb, had to turn back around to get back in there. We were driving. I kept telling Joshua, this is how kidnappings begin. And if you've seen the horror movies, the black girl always goes first. So like, make sure they don't take me, make sure my body gets back to my mom. And then we got back to the Airbnb and it was delightful. I had a great time. Friday morning, we did Wool & Folk. And let's, before we start talking about the event, what I'm not going to do is pile on and we're going to talk about my experiences and I'm going to be honest, right? Like I see no reason to like sugarcoat, but we're also going to keep it cute. And we're going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it on the level. I see no reason there are a lot of people who are already talking about it who had, severely worse experiences than I did. And I encourage you. And I will put links to the Reddit thread and I will tag some of the, the makers who have been sharing their experiences. I encourage you to center their voices because I went as an attendee and I went as an able-bodied attendee, right? So my experiences are going to be very different than a lot of other people's experiences. And I also stuck it out for the whole day, which is also very different from what other attendees did. And so my experience was a little bit different. So I encourage you to, if you're interested to read the Reddit thread, to check out some of the makers who are sharing their experiences already. I will try to remember to leave things in the description box. But what we decided to do, because the parking situation has started to stress me out. Going before the event started with the organizers releasing, where they recommended you park in the limited parking spaces, the parking was starting to stress me out. And I'm an anxious traveler. If you're new here, I have anxiety. I have clinical depression. I am neurodivergent. My brain is weird sometimes. And I was just like, what if we reduce all of what I don't have is social anxiety. I love people. I'm the most extroverted extrovert you'll ever meet. I love the people. And I was like, what if we reduce all of the external factors that are going to stress me out, right? This is also my first big event, going as like a podcaster, if that's what I am. But I had a feeling people were going to find me. I did tell people where to find me. And I was just like, let's minimize all of these other external pressures so I can go in centered and ready to have a great day. I'm glad I did that because, again, things were what they were. So what I did was I messaged my friend Mia at, my God, I'm going to be awful today. I don't really know people's Instagrams because I use their names, but I will tag Mia. Mia has a delightful podcast if you're not following me already. And Cece was staying with Mia and I was like, hey, what if we get there early? let's park, let's do breakfast, because I had never met them in person. Like, I've been talking to these girls online for a while, but I never met them in person. So I was like, let's do breakfast, let's park, and then when the event opens, we'll go do that. And I had a great time. The amount of shrieking the three of us did when we finally, mind you, we all came with our partners, our emotional support companions. That's what I call my husband, my emotional support companion. And so our husbands were kind of just like sitting around watching us affectionately, like shriek at each other. There's a delightful picture, I'll put it here, of the three of us as soon as we saw each other in this big old group hug. And it was great. We parked at the closest parking lot recommended by the organizers, which was a like 10-ish minute walk downhill. And the walk back to the car at the end of the day uphill, I'm a bit of a drama queen, but there were a few times where I told Joshua, just leave me here. I'm going to die on the side of the road. Just leave me here. And then I was like, can you just go get the car and bring it to me? Like, I had a little bit of a meltdown. I was incredibly overstimulated by the end of the day. But it was a 10-minute walk downhill to where the venue was. Again, we are able-bodied, so that was not the worst thing, but going downhill, it was a very steep hill. I trucked it out. Like, I'm from New York City. We don't have parking lots. I'm used to parking, like, way away from your home and having to walk back to where you live. So things like that. And so a lot of the things that were big complaints for other people because of disabilities and accessibility and other things were easier to navigate for me. And a lot of that is just being an able-bodied person. That's able-bodied privilege. We're going to talk about it straight up. That is just a privilege. It was a privilege to be able to go down that hill and not need to wait for a shuttle, not need any assistance. We're going to call it what it was. So we parked, we walked, we found a cafe that was incredibly, those poor baristas. I don't think they were ready for the gaggle of rabid knitters to descend on them. But we found a little cafe. I ran into my friend Judy and her family. And we all like clustered up. There must have been like 9 of us at one point, clustered up, had breakfast. It was great. I had like this really nice like black bean bowl with like rice and avocado. It was a great way to start my day. And then we got online to get to the event. I was not surprised by the line. I wait online to go everywhere. So the line, I wasn't surprised by the line. I was surprised that the line was going over a bridge and you had to walk because the sidewalk was so narrow that you had to walk into oncoming traffic to get to the back of the line. And I'm so silly and so reckless. I saw Casey online, Casey at Young Folk Knits, and literally stopped in the middle of the street to hug her like a ninny. In hindsight, I mean, probably not the wisest choice I'd ever made, but I was so excited to see her that we literally stopped traffic so I could give her a hug, and then we kept walking to the end of the line. So we waited online. The line situation was not great. Getting into the event was not great. And my first indication that things were going to be a little iffy was the map and the program that they gave you did not match where the vendors were. And you have to realize I attended this as an attendee. I knew nothing. I didn't know that the venue had been moved because I bought my ticket last minute. So like a lot of the feedback and the issues that people were having were not things I had really realized because I bought my ticket to the event on Wednesday for a Friday event. Cause I'm last minute. This is the way I roll. I didn't even know the event had changed venues until I saw that was like some of the criticism coming up. And I was just like, oh, this is where I always thought it was. So we got in. I immediately went looking for some vendors, and that was the first time I realized that the map didn't match. And I was just like, okay, this isn't great. It was crowded, to say the least. There were too many vendors and too many people for too much people. Too many vendors, too much people. Too many vendors, too much people. I think that makes more grammatic sense than what I just said, but also like, get in the comments. Tell me if I did it wrong. There was just too much going on. Woodland Folk had, I think, 95 vendors, which was just too much for the space that they had. And so the vendors did not have any real space to, appropriately set up. The inside was a lot. And then it started raining, which, listen, you can't blame the organizers for the rain. Rain happens. So everyone starts running into tents, running in. It was just too much. It was too crowded. There was too much going on. I think the event would have benefited from timed entrances, the way Indie Entangled and Cakapalooza did it. So when you have, I think they sold 3,000. These are the numbers I'm hearing, that they sold 3,000 tickets. I don't think all 3,000 people showed up at the same time. But even 1,000 people plus vendors were too many people, too much people, God, grammar. It was just too much for the space that we were in. And then indoors, it was so dark that you couldn't see anything. Now, I didn't go to buy yarn. So let's talk about my experience. Because I didn't go to buy yarn, I had a different experience. I don't knit with superwash. It's a personal choice. I don't, I'm not going to like talk down to people who knit with superwash yarns, but I don't knit with superwash. And a lot of the indie dyed yarns are superwash. There are a lot of dyers who are coming out with really new and interesting bases that are non-superwash and non-merino based, which I'm really excited for. But I personally don't knit with superwash. It's not my jam. It goes against my personal ethos for the way that I want to consume. So I tend to not buy hand-dyed yarn. I buy a lot of hand-dyed mohair, but like how much hand-dyed mohair do you need? I have a fair bit that I haven't like knit through already. So I was going intentionally to meet a bunch of my friends, to say hi to some vendors that I, have talked to online that I just wanted to go say hi to, and also to say hi to all of you. Like I told a bunch of people I was going to be there. I knew people were looking forward to finding me there, and that's why I went. So I was breezing past the vendor booths because it was too much to even get in there. At one point I was trying to get Joshua to get in and like film a few things, and it was just too much to get in there. So we ended up breezing past the vendor booths. I was able to stop at Woodland Handcrafts. I think that's her Instagram. I know her name's Ro. I don't know what her shop name is, but at one point I was so overstimulated and I was about to have a panic attack, and there was just a little pocket of quiet, and I ended up ducking into her booth and talking to her about Ren Fair for 5 minutes. And it was just, I needed like a breath, and it was a delightful conversation. I was wearing skirt hikes and she commented on my skirt hikes, and so I ended up ducking in there and talking to her for a few bits and just collecting my thoughts and collecting my breath before I went back outside. We took the elevator up to the 5th floor, thankfully, because I looked at that staircase and it was a single file staircase. There was no people going up one way and down one way. And I'm a nurse, and I saw a stampede happening in my head. I saw one person falling and everyone else getting hurt in my head. And I was just like, what if we don't do that? And so we waited for the elevator. We took the elevator up to the 5th floor. I met some great people. I met a sheep judge for the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, and we talked about wool and fiber and my own spinning experience. I met some great vendors up there, but there was just too much going on. Like, so much of the criticism is valid because there was just too much going on. The venue was not accessible. There were just too many people crammed into that space. And then how do vendors sell yarn if it's so dark that people can't see color? Like, you literally could have probably held up like a blue and a purple skein in that dark space and they would have looked exactly the same. So then how do you buy yarn? And then outside you had better light, but also you had the rain and you had the mud and you had everything else. Now Joshua and I stuck it out. So once the rain came and I think a bunch of people got frustrated and left, there was a lot more space. And then things became a little bit better, but it was still really crowded. It was still really mucky. I stopped going in the buildings because for my personal well-being and my level of anxiety, every single time I tried to go into one of those buildings, I stopped going in. So I saw less than half of the people who were there, which again, because I did not go to buy yarn, was not like a deal breaker for me. But I cannot imagine how hard it was and how heartbreaking it was for the vendors. My heart goes out to those people who like spend months dyeing or not only dyeing, like there are potters there, people who sell ceramics, people who sell a bunch of things, who spend months working on this event and then load up all their stuff and cart it all the way to New York and pay all this money to vend at the show, and then for the show to be what it was. Because so many people got frustrated and immediately left. And then people just you couldn't see to buy anything. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I think a lot of the criticism is valid. A lot of the criticism of the event is we saw people slip. I slipped multiple times. Joshua had to catch me a few times, and I have the dexterity of a goldfish. It's a thing I say, but I have the dexterity of a goldfish. And it wasn't great. Will I attend the event again? I honestly don't see it happening again. So I don't see it happening again. So I don't need to say anything about will I attend again. And I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit glib. It's just, I don't want to center my experiences because other people are the people I think we should be listening to. people who are not able-bodied, people who have invisible disabilities, the vendors, like the sponsors. I think those are the people we should really be listening to. And again, I will try to remember to link all of them in the description box. But I will say, I had a great time meeting all of you. A ton of you found me. I looked like a drowned rat by the end of the day because we just stopped trying to run from the rain. And I was like, y'all, it's raining. We're here. And the rain ruined my hat. I'm very upset about that. The rain ruined my hat. But I looked like a drowned rat by the end of the day. And a bunch of people found me anyway and were super kind. I had so many good conversations with people who are picking up spinning fiber and learning to spin for the first time. I don't have very many pictures, I will say that. I don't have very many pictures because Joshua was carrying my camera and I can't be bothered to remember to take pictures. People took pictures of me on their phones. I got to meet Alicia Plummer the first time on Friday, and the way I screamed and ran at her, it was just... I got to see Andrea and Megan and Aro again, like people that I've been talking to online for a really long time, seeing them in person, and then seeing all of you was the high point of my day. I am a social creature, so I decided to make the most of it. I already paid the money to be there. I had to kill time to dinner anyway, so we made the most of it, and we ended up having an okay day. And we had an okay day because of all of you. Honestly, it was for all the people that I got to see and all the friends I have. That's what made it an okay day. And honestly, I could have had that okay day anywhere. Had nothing to do with the event, because the event was what it was. That's it. After Woodland Folk, I got to go have dinner with with Megan and Katie and Joshua. So we went to this really delightful restaurant called the Tasting Room at Rhinebeck. And y'all, when I tell you this was in like the basement of someone's house, it was a wild experience. Like the menu changes and he only makes one fish dish, one poultry, and one like red meat situation. And that's what you have to choose from. And you have no idea what you're gonna get until you get there. So when we got there, there was a lamb, like an ossobuco situation, quail, and then a seafood chipino. Joshua taught me how to say it and I immediately forgot. I had the fish, Joshua and Katie had the quail, and Megan had the lamb. And we had a great dinner. We had apple crisp for desserts. It was great. And then we went back home and I was exhausted and overstimulated and I went right to sleep, and got up Saturday and did it all over again. And we got up early because I really wanted to get to Daedalus to snag my whirligig, which... your girl was successful. We got up early and went to Rhinebeck, grabbed coffee on our way there, and went to the fairgrounds and started the day off officially. So, I will say, I'm not going to talk about finished objects in this. I'm going to save it for a proper podcast because I'm sure there are people who are not interested in Rhinebeck recaps. So for continuity's sake, I am not going to include any information about what I'm wearing. It'll be in the next podcast. But I did finish my slip over for Friday and I did finish my cardigan for Saturday, and your girl felt very cute both days. I felt dressed to the nines. But we got up, we sprinted to Daedalus. When I tell you like full on whoosh, 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 ran to Daedalus to secure the whirligig, which I did. And then the rest of Saturday was, oh my God, it was honestly a blur. I'm going to forget. I took notes. I have notes. I'm going to forget a bunch of people that I ran into. And again, because I don't have a lot of pictures, I've been scrolling through my photos trying to remember everyone I found and I said hi to. And honestly, your girl had a great time and said hi to all the people. And if I forget to mention your name, it's not because you did not leave a lasting impression. It's because I don't have any pictures and I immediately forgot. So that's what it is. But we had such a great day. We went to Daedalus, and then from Daedalus, I went to the Woodland Pixie and Woodland Handcrafts because I really wanted to get some of her bats and I wanted to get a new spindle. So we went there. And from there, I got to meet Gudrun Johnson, who, oh my God, I'm such a fan. I met her at Woodland Folk. I made myself like an absolute ninny. She was grabbing food and I ran up to her and I was just like, you have no idea who I am, but I am endlessly impressed by you. And so when I met her on Saturday, she was like, my friends told me about you, so I looked you up, and also you're, and I was like, when I tell you, I almost like cried. Like I was just like, oh, no, you're not allowed to think that I'm cool. I'm overwhelmed. No. But I went to get her book signed because she has a new book out. We'll do acquisitions. I went to get my book signed, so I got to meet her. I got to talk to her a little bit. You would have seen some of the samples if you watched, the montage. And when I was coming out of that building, I saw Andrea. So one of the things that I was planning on doing was going fleece shopping with Andrea Mallory. So I know that I said I wasn't going to go into the fleece barn, but then Andrea mentioned that she went to go get a fleece, and I was like, yeah, let's go in the fleece barn. And it's just, I mean, y'all knew I was going to the fleece barn, right? Like, no one believed me when I said I wasn't going to the fleece barn. Everyone was like, haha, Tashi, you're a joke. You're going in there, right? Okay, cool. So I went to the fleece barn with Andrea. We went fleece shopping. I got to hang out with her and the spinsters. The lovely humans that work at Spin Cycle, the spinsters. And we went into the fleece barn. We did a bit of fleece shopping. I will show you the fleece that I got. Again, but also if you've watched Casey's video already, I know some of y'all have watched Casey's video already because you told me already that you saw the fleece. But if you've seen Casey's video already, you've seen the fleeces that I've got. If you haven't, you'll see them again in a few minutes. But I did get some fleece, and when I came out the fleece barn, I ran into Casey and Becky of A Hand Knit Letter, and they were hanging out with Lily Kate of Lily Kate Makes, who's a brilliant designer, and Anastasia, who flew them in from Iceland. Like, imagine that being your life, that you just charter a whole plane from Iceland to New York to go to a wool event. Like, I was so impressed. I was just like, we're making cool things with yarn, and you're flying whole planes. You win. You, in the cool Olympics, I cannot keep up, and you win. So I got a great picture with them. You'll have seen Casey talk a little bit about her shawl if you watch the montage. So I guess this is me saying, if you skipped ahead and didn't watch the montage, go back and watch the montage. It was great. The montage is great. So you'd have seen me talk to Casey a little bit in the montage. And from there, we wandered. I did get I'm trying to remember what else we did. I got my souvenir bag. And I think that was it I did on Saturday was such a blur. Yeah, I think that's all I did at the fairgrounds proper. So we left the fair a little bit early. I think we left at 3:00 to go grab drinks with a few of my friends. So I got to hang out with Aro of Aro Knits and Pearls, Andrea of The Knitting PT, Megan of Kimchi & Co., Tori of Tori Knits NYC, Shannon of Jador Fibers, Rashma of Hello Lavender, who, y'all, when I full on fangirled when I saw her. I have so many Hello Lavender stitch markers. I'm such a fan of her. And I was like, Josh, you know all those fun, like, handmade clay stitch markers I have? She made, and I saw her on Friday, and I full on went, I'm obsessed with you, like, at her, like a lunatic. And then I got to hang out with her on Saturday, which, y'all, how is this my life? Did I get everybody? Oh, and Cece and Mia were there also, and then all of our partners. And we ended up at a brewery, and we had a few beers. We ran outside and took some pictures. I begged them to take a jumping picture. I was like, guys, can we do it? Can we just do it? Can we do it? And there's that fun video of us like limbering up before we finally did the jump, and the pictures came out great. I will put one of the pictures here. But I did that, and it was after the hubbub of Woolen Folk and trying to make the best of the day and like constantly rallying. I kept going, Tosh, you're going to make the best of this. Tosh, you're going to be fine. Tosh, you're going to be fine. Constantly rallying and then meeting all these people and trying to give them my best self. It was just really nice to sit and just go, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just like chill and vibe and have a beer and chill out. And it was great. And I went from there, to the potato party, which y'all, I'm gonna put on my fun hat. I wanted to wear the hat the whole video, but the shadows on my face did not allow me. So I'm gonna put it on now. And now you can't see my eyes anymore. So I'm not gonna leave it on very long. But I don't know if you can see it. You can see it. It says Chaos Crafters. And I am a newly inaugurated Chaos Crafter. There we go. I'm wearing it backwards. That's the look. I'm a newly inaugurated Chaos Crafter, but I got invited to a potato party with with Meredith of Mareberry, Lydia of Bad Bangs, Erin of Coast to Coast Yarn Co., Amanda, Lauren, and Caitlin of Stitchy Queer. And they were all staying together, and they invited me to their potato party knit night. So we they made baked potatoes and had a bunch of toppings, and we literally just made baked potatoes and sat on the ground and knit. And it was, Saturday was like, I don't know if you've ever had a moment where you get like some affirmation and some confirmation that you're doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And every now and then, like, the heavens open up and the angels start singing to you, and you're like, wow, I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and how is this my life, and how am I this lucky, and how am I this blessed? That's what Saturday felt like for me. Oh, I didn't tell you, I got to meet Alicia and we were wearing our matching coffee house cardigans. Oh my God, hugging her was just such an experience. Alicia and I have been friends for a while and we talk almost daily. Like we send each other voice messages almost daily. And it was just so nice to like finally get my hands on her. I turned into a little bit of a rabid gremlin. I'm sorry. It was just, I don't have words. I don't have words. I'm thinking about it and I'm reliving it. And it was just, it was a treat. TREAT, all caps, treat. So Sunday, after, I slept off the hubbub of Saturday, we didn't get back to our Airbnb till like 11:30, y'all. We were up early, out late every day. Sunday, we were coming home. So Sunday, we did not stay at the fairgrounds all day, but we did get up early again and head to the fairgrounds because there were a few things that I wanted to get. So I wanted to get a sweatshirt from Mitchell Wool Co., which I did get. We'll talk about the acquisitions later. But there were a few things I wanted to do. I did do a little bit of ghost shopping for my friend Megan at Brioche and Brews and Melody at Pacific Coaster Fibers. So I did have to go back and get a few things. And then we went to the Leaping Llama show, which if y'all watch, you will have seen the Leaping Llama show. Excellent entertainment. Just excellent. So we saw the Leaping Llama show. We did a little bit of shopping. And then I got to have lunch with my friend Sam. That's officially her name. With my friend Sam and Kat. And we just found a little place to sit. Oh, y'all, the food at Rhinebeck was great. I didn't eat anything on Saturday because I was too busy running around being a lunatic. But on Sunday, I had fried Brussels sprouts. Top notch. I had apple fries, which are literally like slivers of Granny Smith apples, tossed in cinnamon sugar, deep fried, then tossed in cinnamon sugar again, and then covered in caramel sauce. And then they have the audacity, the absolute nerve to put soft serve on top of it, and then a little piping of whipped cream, and then more caramel sauce. And that's what I ate while we were watching the llamas. And yeah, I need that in my life all the time. And then I had crab chowder for lunch and a lemonade. And I sat there with Sam and Kat and we knit and we chat. And it was a delightful way to kind of like decompress before we were getting on the road. I got to see Andrea Mowry again and gave her a big squish. Y'all, my heart is so full. There are so many people I ran into that I'm forgetting. I got to finally meet Lindsay at, I think it's the Rogue Knitter. But I'm a big fan of Lindsay. Lindsay does really cool, like, low contrast color work, and I love her color sense. I got to meet Lindsay. I finally got to meet Jelena, who, oh my God, is the most beautiful. I think I spent more time telling her how beautiful she is before I was actually, like, commenting on her knitwear, because she's just so stunning. She's so stunning. I finally got to meet Maya of What Maya Made and M of M We Kurt. Also, there's like a mosquito in here and it's making me crazy. And M has a podcast, Gently Chaotic Knits, and I am the biggest fan of Maya and M's friendship. I keep telling them they're couple goals. I'm the biggest fan of their friendship and how they match and all the knit-alongs they do. It was just, I'm happy. My weekend did not start off great, and it finished on such a high point that, like, y'all, I would 10 out of 10 go back and do that whole experience again. 10 out of 10. So that, I guess that's all I have to say about what I did and what I saw and where I went. I'm sure I'm forgetting things, which, you might have watched the montage, so you might have seen it already. We're gonna go do acquisitions. I'll start showing you all the stuff I got. So I didn't do much shopping. I said that, and I'm gonna keep saying that because I've seen a few Rhinebeck hauls, and mine is modest. I didn't do a bunch of shopping. I did get a few things at Wool and Folk. One of the things that I absolutely had to have were these knit caps, and Casey at Portland Fibers? Port Fiber. I don't know why I just said it was Portland. Port Fiber had posted on Instagram that she was going to have these. And this is like the thing that I beelined for. And that's why I was upset that the map was wrong. Because I came in looking for Casey at Port Fiber. One, I wanted to say hi to Casey. But I wanted to get one of these hats. And I was really concerned that they were going to sell out. And that's how I figured out the map was wrong. Excuse me. A moment of silence for how cute I look in this. Excuse me. I'm going to wear this all the time. I'm not going to leave. Oh, actually, you know what? We're going to have a real Brooklyn moment. I need to adjust it so it fits my giant head. Pause. We're going to have a Brooklyn moment. And I'm going to wear it sideways. Y'all, can y'all tell I'm from NYC? Now imagine if I had these on and with like construction Timberlands. This was what like 16-year-old Hashi looks like. A little bit of a story. We're going down memory lane. I discovered fitted caps when I was 16, and fitted caps are the caps that you have to buy in sizes and are not adjustable. And I discovered fitted caps. I'm gonna wear mine sideways. I just discovered fitted caps when I was 16, and I used to wear them sideways like this to high school, and I had matching construction Timberland boots for all my caps. My parents indulged me, and we're reliving my youth. We're reliving my glory days. Yes, here we go. That's a vibe. So I did get this. I got a little bit of Corriedale top from Coats & Co. And I got this for blending. So this is just straight up wool roving, dyed one color. And I want to blend this into a shawl spin. So I got 4 ounces of this to then blend with a natural fleece. And we're going to see what I do with this. And I also got a little bit of sari silk from Keira. Yes, Keira, to blend together. So here we go. Look at those colors together. Ignore my nails. I need to go get my nails done. But this sari silk has pops of turquoise in it. And I thought it would be perfect blended with this deep teal Corriedale. And I'm probably going to blend it with Corriedale or something else. I'm going to blend it with something gray to mute these colors down a little bit. And it's going to be a shawl spin. Because one of my missions is to become a shawl knitter. I feel like if I keep saying it often enough, it has to happen. Like if I keep saying I'm going to be a shawl knitter, I might knit a shawl. I did get some buttons from Mindful Farm, which is Hannah. That's where Alicia was hanging out. Alicia was helping Hannah vend. I'm missing one of these because I tried to sew it onto my cardigan. That's why my cardigan was buttonless at Rhinebeck. But also everyone who knows me, no one is surprised that my cardigan didn't have buttons. So I tried to put these on my cardigan. Here are the buttons. I tried to put these on my cardigan, so one of these is missing, but none of my darning needles that I had with me had small enough holes, so I will be putting the buttons on my cardigan in a few days. I actually just got home from my sister's. So I'll be putting the buttons on my cardigan in a few days, but I did get some buttons for my coffee house cardigans. And then I got this delightful bag from Home Row Handcraft after I was hanging out with Ro. This is one of the reasons that I stepped into her booth. Here we go. Isn't it great? I love it so much. It's from the show What We Do in the Shadows, which I've tried to watch multiple times. I have yet to get through an episode because I always put it on at night and then fall asleep. But also, was I going to leave a bag back that said this? Absolutely not. It is going to be my new tote bag. If I find a local knit night, this is just going to be what I carry my yarn in, just to be contrary and, you know, a little bit obnoxious. So that was my entire Woollen Folk haul. I told Joshua I was not buying any yarn this year, and I made it till Saturday at 1 o'clock, which was literally an hour before we left the festival. I made it that far without buying any yarn, and I bought yarn for a particular project, which we will talk about when you see it. But that was my entire haul. I will show you what I got at Rhinebeck proper. So every time I go to a wool fair, I always get the tote bag. This is going to be my 3rd souvenir tote from Rhinebeck. I do have a souvenir tote from Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I actually do use my bags. My Maryland Sheep and Wool bag is my D&D bag. I keep my dice and all my stuff in it, so whenever I'm playing D&D outside of my home, my bag is always packed. Here's the Rhinebeck bag. You guys have probably already seen this. I'm late to getting my recap up. I've watched like a dozen of these over the week that I was hiding out at my sister's house. You probably have already seen it, but if you haven't, look at how cool the design was this year. My favorite pro tip, is they have the tote bags in the fleece barn. So I didn't wait on the souvenir tent line. I went to buy my fleece, and when I bought my fleece, I got a tote bag. Do not buy all the tote bags in the fleece barn, because if I can't get one next year, I'm going to be highly upset. But anyways, this is a tote bag. They had it with a blue strap and a purple strap this year. So you could make a choice. I got blue because that's just my jam. But this is going to be my new D&D bag because how cool is this bag? The person who designed this bag, 10 out of 10, 0 notes. I love the color. I did make it to Daedalus to get my whirligig. No, I will not take it out the box so you can see it. It is still in the box. It will eventually make its debut on the podcast, but I don't know how much assembly it is required, and it is a very big box. Between getting my Daedalus whirligig and getting Megan's Martin, I came out. We had to go back to the car and do a drop off because I was hitting everyone with the bag because it's such a big bag. Also, I'm so glad that Daedalus was there. I hope they come every year because it was great. I got to their booth at 9:03 and there were 7 people in front of me. I don't know how 7 people got there before 9:03, but people were buying wheels for themselves and all their friends, and I really hope that Daedalus had a great day and they keep coming back because it was really nice to meet them and to secure the whirligig. So I'll show you my spindle that I got at Woodland Handcrafts. I've had my eye on this every time they do a shop update, and I always miss it. It is their Wee Folk hidden in a little pumpkin. So here it is. It's a pumpkin, and then there's a little door. It's like a hobbit door in a pumpkin. So this is the exact same shape as their Birdhouse Spindles, which is one of my favorite spindles from Woodland Handcrafts that I have. But I did go looking to see if they did an exclusive spindle. Sometimes they do an Elder Wand that they only do for Rhinebeck, but they didn't have any Rhinebeck exclusive spindles this year. That obviously did not stop me from buying a spindle, but I had a list, and the list of things that I wanted to get was a spindle from the Bosworths, a spindle from Woodland Handcrafts, and some batlings from the Woodland Pixie, which not only did I get one, I got two. So this was the one that she was doing exclusively for Rhinebeck, and this is called Patina. I'm not going to take it out the bag. You're going to have to deal with the crinkling, and I hope you can see it. This is called Patina, and this was one of the Rhinebeck exclusives that she was doing for the show. And then she had Bag End, which I've seen a bunch of people spin, and I've been really jealous of. And when I was talking to her, she was like, yeah, I always set aside some stuff for Rhinebeck. So of course I immediately grabbed a set of Bag End, because not only are these colors beautiful, it's Bag End. And if you know anything about me, I'm absolutely rabidly obsessed with the Lord of the Rings. I am a nerd. Who is surprised? I'm obsessed with the Lord of the Rings. I was not leaving behind a set of batlings called Bag End. Honestly, if I had more, I wanted to I had a budget, and the whirligig, you know, was my big purchase. If I'd had more money allocated and more space in my bag, I probably would have grabbed all the batlings that she had, because she had 3 other colorways. But also, I got there really early. I got there at like 9:20, and I didn't want to be greedy, and I wanted to leave stuff behind for other people. And I have so much spinning fiber anyway. And there's also future updates. So I only got 2. And I've already signed up for her advent, so I'm going to have more. I'm going to have more, and I'm very excited. So here is my signed book from Gudrun and Mary Jane. It's called Grand Adventure Shetland Knits, and we're going to talk a lot about this in the next podcast episode. Here's the book. We're going to talk a lot about this in the next podcast episode, because your girl, we're going to be doing a knit along with a pattern in this book. I ran into Amy and Mel and a bunch of other lovely humans. I think Amy and Mel watched the show, and they were also getting a book signed by Gudrun, and I was just like, hey, do you guys want to do a knit along? And they said yes, and since they were with me, they picked the pattern that we're doing, and I'm actually going to spin my Shetland fleece for one of these patterns, because I thought it'd be cool to do a Shetland pattern with Shetland wool, because, you know, your girl is extra. We can't help ourselves. But I did get my book signed by, by Gudrun and Mary Jane. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. But I did get my book signed, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted. Also, talking to Gudrun was great. Just great. So here's my only book purchase. There were so many other books that I wanted to get. But the lines were wild, and I didn't want to take up too much time because I had a deadline. And I thought about coming back, and when I did try to come back on Sunday, a lot of the books I had my eyes on were sold out. So I'm just going to have to get them online. But we were on a bit of a time crunch Saturday when I got to Gudrun, because there were a few things I wanted to do, and I was really concerned that things were going to move fast if I didn't get to them in time. So I did get this book, because this was definitely on my list. I ran into Natalie multiple times, and we had every intention of going Bosworth Spindle shopping. I will put a picture of Natalie and I together. And I had every intention of going Bosworth Spindle shopping together, and then every time I tried to get in there, I kept getting distracted by other things. And then I ran into Felicia at One Whip Wonder, and she had 6, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spindles. And I was like, I need to go now. And then when I ran over to the Bossies, Natalie was coming out, and she had 3, and I was like, I need to go get my spindle right now, because I'm not going to get one because all my friends are buying them. God, I love Jonathan and Sheila so much. Sheila knows my name because I buy from them so often. And she was like, yeah, I know you. You get this spindle. You get this spindle. And I literally like full on melted into the ground, because I was just like, how do you do that? How do you keep that information straight? I love the Bosworths. I love them. So I got Curly Mori, I think is what it is. Curly Mori with a bow coat shaft, 25 grams. So she's my heaviest spindle, but I couldn't, just look at this. I couldn't leave this behind. Y'all get in there. I couldn't leave this behind. And then the shaft itself, my eyeballs are in the way. There we go. The shaft itself has texture and color to it. I'm obsessed. So I only got 1 spindle. I almost got 2. And then I remember that I was only limiting myself to 1 because I have like 6 or 7 others, and 8 drop spindles is enough drop spindles. I'm actually going to be destashing a lot of my support spindles because I have figured out what I like, and I don't use a lot of them because a lot of them are no longer what I'm interested in. So I'm going to be doing a big destash, and I have enough spindles. But also, this one brought me the most joy. And I think that's all I got on Saturday. because all of my other purchases I made on Sunday. So we'll move on to Sunday purchases. So on Sunday, I went to Loop Fiber Studio. And if you're familiar with Loop, Loop does these fun bullseye bumps, which are gradient fibers. I'm not going to take it out the bag because I want it to stay in here because it's super fine merino and I do not want it to felt or get messed up. But I'm trying to open it up for you. They're gradient fibers. There we go. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this, but they're gradients and you spin it. You're supposed to spin it from the inside out. And you could do like a 2-ply or whatever. I'm probably going to chain ply this to maintain the gradation of the dyer because she knew what she was doing. This is the color Earthy and it's 6 ounces. It's a lot of fiber. These are not like the cheapest things, but I think they're special treats and I'm going to save mine for a rainy day when I need a little pick-me-up. I also went to Mitchell Wool Co. and I grabbed a For Flock's Sake sweatshirt. So here's a sweatshirt. Now these were, they did not have any of my size left, so I got mine deliberately oversized because I really wanted one. And you know what I'm going to do to it? I'm going to crop it. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to cut it, probably going to take like 7 inches off of it because it's delightfully oversized. It's just a touch too long for me. So I could do one of 2 things. I know how to sew, so I could save the binding and just cut off the extra fabric and then rebind it, or I could just crop it and leave it as a raw hem because, you know, I have options now because I know how to use my sewing machine and I know how to use a serger and I can sew knits. I love how long the sleeves are on this. The sleeves are kind of stupid long, which is my favorite thing to do. I like to have like floppy sleeves because I'm, you know, small and silly. So I did get a sweatshirt from Mitchell Wool Co. They have a bunch that I really wanted. There's one that said Yarn Snob and I really, really wanted it. But again, I had to carry all this stuff back home and they do have an online store. So at some point I'm going to go back and get the Yarn Snob sweatshirt, but I wore this one for a picture with the Chaos Crafters because Lydia and Lauren had one and they already had their Chaos Crafting hat. And I was like, I want to be in this picture. So I went and got my sweatshirt and wore it. I literally took my sweater off in the middle of the fairground. Well, not in the middle. Like I ducked into a corner, took my sweater off, put my sweatshirt on like a wild child is what I look like. I look like a wild child. But here is my sweatshirt that will look different the next time you see it. I ran into my friend Sam before lunch. Before lunch? At lunch. At lunch. And she was telling me about the CVM roving that she got from the Bohleyers in Pennsylvania. And I got 8 ounces. I couldn't resist. She also bought yarn from them. And the yarn, CVM is one of my favorites. It's, oh God, it's my favorite fine wool. I think Coriel is considered a medium, which is why I say CVM is my favorite fine wool. Like, keep your merino, keep that. I want all the CVM. Oh, so much bounce, so much squish. And she let me squish that yarn. And I immediately went back to grab some roving from them. And they had 4 different colors. And I stood in their booth for way too long with Joshua, holding up all the colors next to my face, trying to decide. I think I'm going to spin this for a shawl because I only got 8 ounces and that's not enough for a garment for me. Again, if I keep telling myself I'm going to spin for a shawl, I will eventually knit a shawl. I will be a shawl knitter. Maybe. So I did get that and I will show you the yarn I got. So I'm obsessed with the yarn from Nash. Nash Island. And if you're familiar with the Nash Island yarn, there's like wild sheep and these sheep just live on this island off the coast of Maine. And every now and then people go and shear the sheep and make the yarn and the sheep are just living their lives. They're just doing their thing. They're not domesticated. They're not dealing with people. They're just out doing their thing. And I get some yarn from them all the time. I bought 2 skeins twice with the intention of making hats. And this is my first garment quantity because they had a sample of the V-Sig vest by Mary Jane Mucklestone. They had a sample there and Lydia got a sweater quantity to make that vest. And I loved her color palette so much that I was like, oh God, I also need this vest. So I went back and I got to make the vest. And you, again, if you've watched the montage, you've seen the yarn already, but I will talk to you briefly about what I got. So here's my color palette for my vest. It's very me. It's very me. It's blues and greens and oranges and yellows. It's very much me. The person who helped me pick out the yarn was like, hey, that looks like what you're wearing. Because I was wearing my Heritage Harbor pullover and I was like, yes, I am a creature of habit. This is my main color. So this is going to be the color that's my ribbing. This is Harbor. And it's just a fun medium tone blue. And then this is going to be my second main color because you have like stripes and then you have one color and then all the stripes dance through that one color. So this is Cove. And it's just a really soft light blue. And I decided to go for cooler tones. I tend to not always wear cool tones. And I thought I would go mostly cool and then add a few pops of warm tones to it. So here are my 2 main colors. And then for contrast color 1, I have cider. Contrast color 2, I have honey. 3 is trout, and 4 is lichen. So these are my contrast colors. And I was in that booth for so long, just picking up yarn, putting it down, picking up yarn, putting it down, picking up yarn, putting it down. And here's my palette. And I'm really jazzed about this. I think I'm going to try to get this done for New Year's. I don't really have New Year's plans, and I'm not like a big New Year's party girl, but I feel like this would be a fun sweater and a fun statement piece to wear to like a New Year's dinner with like a collared shirt underneath and like trousers and like fun shoes. So I'm really going to try to have this done for New Year's, but also I'm going to be working on a lot of things. So like, who knows? Who knows? I did also briefly stop by Katrinkles to grab some stitch markers, but I can't really show them to you because they're already in projects. I was very fast. I think I have one left. Okay, I do have one left. So there are these fun little hearts. Don't talk about my nails, y'all. I have to go get my nails done. But there are these fun little hearts. There we go. You can kind of see that. So I got 2 sets of these, and they're already in projects. So that's why you're seeing one of them, because I immediately cut them open and started using them. But I did pass by Katrinkles. I love Katrinkles. I also got a ring distaff, which has fiber on it. So you can't also see it because I immediately put those things to use. I actually loaded the fiber on the ring distaff at Rhinebeck, so I could start spinning. No, that means I must have went to Katrinkles on Saturday. I guess I went to Katrinkles on Saturday. I don't remember. I don't remember what day I did things in anymore. But I did get a ring distaff, and I got some fun stitch markers. I'm going to show you the fleece now because, y'all. So when I got to the fleece barn, my friend Sam, who is officially my enabler, and I'm blaming her for this, had scored a Shetland lamb fleece, and she had another fleece from the same shepherd, and she was like, hey, I put this here for you, come look at it, and she brought it to me, and I was like, okay, well, if you're picking out a fleece for me, I don't need to see it, I don't need to ask any questions, I'm getting it. So I did get a Shetland lamb fleece, and then I found another Shetland lamb. I'm moving it around so much, I'm sorry for the plastic bag. I found another lamb from the same shepherd, so I ended up with 2 Shetland lambs. They are only a pound each, so they're very small and very quick projects. And that is what I'm telling myself to rationalize why I bought both of them. There's no lanolin on these. Like if I want, and they're so clean. If I wanted to spin them raw, I could start spinning them right now. That's how delightful they are. But they're just, so this is this sugar? This is sugar. Okay, this is sugar. They're just, gosh darn it. I mean, here we go. They smell so good. They smell so good. So here's sugar. And sugar has a lot of gray. And how do I do this to you? How do I do this? How do I do this in a way that makes sense? Tashiana. I'm trying to show you all the color. Here we go. So sugar has is a warm pearly silver and then has some gunmetal. I'm just playing with this right now. And then has some gunmetal in there. So let me pull out some of these colors. Here we go. So here we go. Here's some of the gunmetal shade. And then there's some like darker silver in there also. I'm going to mix all this up and throw this on my drum carder, and I literally cannot wait. I want to do this now. It is very late in the day. I cannot start processing a fleece right now, but if I could. This is like cashmere soft. Like this has to be low teens microns, maybe 16. That's not low teens. That is low teens. This is probably like 15, 16 microns. Like I have felt this is finer than some of the merino fleeces I've handled. Delightful. I didn't tell you anything about the shepherd. I did get to meet Pat, and I raved at Pat about her sheep like a lunatic. So I hope I didn't like scare Pat. But I got them. They're raised. Where's Pat's information? I will put her information in the description box because I probably should have had this. I think they're in Pennsylvania. Honestly, I think they're in Pennsylvania. So I got sugar, and then I kept walking, and I found Divine. So I got Divine also. And Divine is a warm cream with a few little bits of the breech and the neck. So if you're not familiar with fleece, the breech is the back end and the neck is the top end. Those tend to not be the finest part of the fleece. So the breech and the neck are still included in here. I'm probably going to pick those out. And you can tell where the breech and the neck is because it doesn't have the same crimp as the rest of the fleece, and it tends to be more like wavy and more like kind of hair-like than the crimp of the rest of the fleece. I'm going to pull those out. But here's Divine. Just a really great warm, white, nice, neutral. Also, you know, very same thing. Must be low teens in the microns. Cashmere soft, delightful fleece, and also a pound. I cannot wait to get into these. I'm very excited about them. I have zero regrets about bringing those fleeces home. So that was my Rhinebeck haul, and that was my Rhinebeck experience, and I've been talking for a very long time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, like, comment, subscribe if you're new here. If you're a returning viewer, you've already done that stuff. But also, you know, leave me a comment and tell me your thoughts. This is probably going to be the longest thing I've ever put up, so feel free to watch it in shifts. But also, if you've made it all the way here, you made it all the way here. So thank you so much. I'll be back in maybe a week or two with a normal podcast episode. We will talk about my finished objects. We'll talk about what I've been wearing. We will talk about all the things that I've been casting on because I have been rabid when it comes to starting projects. I don't know who I think I am, but I've just been starting things galore. It's been wild. But we'll be back in a week or two with a regular podcast episode. Until then, I love you. Go make something fun today.